fight tonight.
What's going on, everybody? Jade here. Today's video is going to be over Veteran Sunspire Hard Mode. This is going to be over a specific boss called Loki, is what we call him. And I'm just going to go over the mechanics and what you need to look out for as a main tank. Of course, the use can also be a reference guide for if you're a DPS or an off tank or anything like that, healer, whatever, so you can see what the main tank has to go through. So, let's go ahead and hop right into it. First off, I want to say go ahead and get yourself defensive posture and purge. If you're on a Nightblade tank, definitely want to use those two, Nightblade or any kind of tank. The reason why is because, as you can see, his first attack is going to be Frostbolt. And what that's going to do is it's going to be a spell projectile that's going to lunge at you. He's going to spit it out of his mouth. You get hit with enough of those, you're going to die. So you use defensive posture, and what that's going to do is going to reflect it back to him and do a little bit of damage, right? What you can also do is you can also dodge roll, or you can just stay a little bit closer to his mouth, about 7 meters. And if you did that, if you stayed closer to him, about 7 meters or so, what he's going to do is he'll bite down on you. I didn't show it on this video because mainly because I think a lot of progression guilds, such as myself and a lot of others, are going to be staying this far back until you get the hang of things and maybe you want to try something different, which is coming up in the PTS. Is that the outcost from the main tank will be able to hit the boss a little bit better, finally. But anyways, so that's one of the abilities that's one of the attacks you want to look out for. As you can see, he was charging up his attack right there. That's one of his bites attacks. He also does one where he shoots out a huge projectile, and that one hits really, really hard. Those projectiles, if you don't block, it will one-shot you. So once he flies up at 80%, what he's going to do is he'll spawn 2 additional Ice Atros, and he'll spawn a few of those Storm Atros. What happens here is I'll show you the mechanics of the Ice Atro. Ice Atros do a cone attack. They're pretty buggy, so what I do is I just move out of them, and that's good. Because if you move to the left or right side of it, sometimes the Ice Atro will swing that way and hit any DPS in that cone. He also does that ground AoE, as you've seen, that little circle AoE underneath him. Anybody in that will get pushed back. If you're a DPS, you're more than likely will die. So here goes another cone attack. As you can see, he didn't swipe sideways, but it's very, very weird. So these Storm Atros, what they do is once they die, they leave down an AoE, right? And what you want to do as a DPS is focus on those Storm Atros, because they leave down the AoE. Ice Atros go right into those and takes a crap ton of damage, and they pretty much die. If they get hit by 2, they'll die, or they should die. Flame Atronauts also do spawn. You'll see those. There'll be a little AoE that spawns, and it'll be fire, and then they'll pop out of that. This beam attack, this Jesus beam attack from Loki, what it does is it applies a huge circle underneath everybody. It's roughly about I don't know, 8 meters or so, maybe even 10. I don't really know. But he does about that, and he does constant damage. So you want to be in a stack position for that. As a tank, you can deal without being stacked. You can pretty much heal through it. Now, what I did is I was too far to the left side or too far to the right side of the boss. We'll do that wing thrash and knock you back. And all you got to do is it'll spawn you back up, and you should be good to go. Now here's a conal attack that he does, and we'll slow this down later on in the video. But what it does is it will shoot out a conal attack, and you just dodge roll out of it. As you can see, those Storm Atros spawn. There's 2 Storm Atros, 1 Ice Atro that spawns shortly after he lands. After Loki lifts off and then lands back down, he'll spawn those 3 ads. As you can see, those Storm Atros, what they're doing, when they do a light attack, and you'll see those little balls that go, those are the things that you want to purge. So basically, what happens is they'll shoot them out, and it's just a purge mechanic. So that's why you kind of want purge on your bar. Both tanks, maybe a healer, both healers, something like that, and you'll see them. So that's why you want to have purge on your bar. All right, so as you can see, we have another form of Storm Atros and Ice Atros come. But the second time he lifts up, which is 50%, what's going to happen is he's going to immediately do his beam attack. So what you want to do as a tank is grab that Ice Atro and get away from group as quick as possible. Off tank is going to grab both of the other two and get away as quick as possible. Again, these Storm Attributes will continue to apply a debuff to your group, so you'll need to purge if they call for it. You could also get Purge Tracker if you're on PC. If you're not on PC, if they seem like they're constantly taking more damage than others, then obviously throw down that Purge. So here we go. We're just I'm slowing this down so you can kind of see the entire fight and what's going on. What you could also do for the group as far as DPSing goes is start on one side and work your way to the other. Make sure that if you're our Necros in the group or a crap ton of Necros in the group, 8, 6, whatever, make sure you guys rotate those Necro Colossus ultis going. Now, shortly after the beam attack, and it'll give you a few minutes to DPS. What's going to happen is a cone attack is gonna or a line attack is gonna happen again. I think I forgot to mention on the last one, but what it's gonna do is it'll have a telegraph, and it's buggy as well, so be prepared for that. But most of the time, it's gonna go through the center, and the Loki will strafe by and shoot down some electric damage there. You can dodge through it, take a little bit of damage, or you can just wait on the other side and just kind of wait. As you can see, I slowed this down again, so you can see those huge AoEs right there that you want to take the Ice Atros in. Now, I also slowed this part down, so as you can see, I'm taking it, and this may happen to you, where a Storm Atro's over here, Ice Atro needs to be over here, and they need to die quickly, right? Well, you're tanking from a range, so it's easy if you just tank them a little bit further back, right? So that way you're guaranteed to not get the frost cone on you during that part. And the frost cone will happen if I'm just about, a few meters up forward. So as you can see, the frost breath here comes. So you can kind of guesstimate where it's at. I like to use this ice where the snow is at, where the brush is at. Just right in front of that brush is where the cone can happen, and that's where I like to be. What you can do if you're having some sustain issues is go up there on that cone, and when he does actual mechanic and does the breath on you, what you can do is as soon as it attacks you, dodge roll backwards, and you may or may not take damage from it. Just depends on how quick you get out of it. And as you can see, does a little bit of cone attack there. I'm out of it, and I'm able to just kind of sit back and relax and not really take too much damage or have any sustain issues. If you are having sustain issues like I was here with Stam, I knew I was running low on Stam. I started heavy attacking the closest ad possible. And you can also go up to Loki itself and heavy attack. Now, as you can see underneath where Loki's feet are, there are a constant aura of ice, it looks like. If you get too close to that, you'll constantly take damage from that and eventually die. So don't get too close to that as a DPS. Now we're slowing this down again because here's what's happening. We ended up having two ice atros out, and then he spawns two additional ones. So I was like, hey, let me take the other two that just spawned. He's like, all right, cool. So I grabbed the two ice atros that spawned. Immediately after Loki gets up, he does a telegraph and he makes an X. So where he's facing, it's going to be an X. And so the telegraph will show shortly after he'll come down and beam on the ground. And he does both sides. He does it really, really quick, roughly within about 3 seconds of each other. So all you're doing here as a tank, you're just kiting both of these or kiting the one. The off tank will say when he's going to take the ice atro off of you. Usually when one of them dies, he'll take the other one off of the main tank so that the main tank can really focus on the boss when he spawns. And that way, the ice atro can get cleaved while it's in the stack with the storm atros. And here comes the beam. They're calling for a quick stack, and you're going to take that away from the group as quick as possible. And that way, it's not going to get attacked or anything like that, or it's not going to attack any of the group. So as you can see, we're just still kiting it, just heavy attacking as much as we can, taking a little bit of damage, but not so much actually. The heal from the Nightblade, the ability to have the 3% mitigation and all that stuff is just really, really nice. As you can see, I have marked target on because it does a fracture, so I keep that up on the boss as well. As I try to as much as possible. Again, this is my first time main tanking as a Nightblade. Um, so just kind of bear with me on here, but I just wanted to get this video out as quick as possible to kind of show you guys some of the mechanics of what's going on and how to kind of avoid some of these. Now, if you have enough DPS, what your raid lead can do is say, hey, just burn the boss, off tank, grab everything. And what they does is just does that. Off tank will grab all the ice astrals and just kind of go somewhere else and just kind of kite them around, which he could do pretty easily. He or she could do pretty easily. Hopefully this video helped you guys out in some way, shape, or form. I appreciate you guys watching it, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.